Earlier today, Major League Baseball and the Cleveland Indians announced they would no longer be using the Chief Waahoo logo starting in the 2019 season. You know, this highly offensive logo right here. Look, words and logos are only good or bad based on the context they are used or the people they upset. It's the racist idiot you should be concerned about. You know, the intelligent white guy who claims to be politically correct. But let me tell you something about being politically correct. It's racism disguised as unity. I like words that get straight to the point. At what point did Indians stop being called Native Americans and begin to become indigenous peoples? Don't be fooled by these well-educated white people trying to hide their own sins or racism. I can see one right now. Hi, talking to an Indian. Hi, Indian, I know not to use that because you people do not like being called Indian. You'd rather be called Native American or is it indigenous peoples? I know, How about we start celebrating our differences? Okay? Look, the Minnesota Vikings have horns in their logo. But anyone who knows anything about history actually knows that Vikings never wore horns. Do you see me getting upset over that stereotype? But listen, the viral Viking, you don't know anything about stereotypes or being oppressed. Really? Okay? Because you're talking to someone who got slapped in Sunday school when he was a young kid for talking about Thor and Odin. Because to me, they were gods long before they were comic book characters. In my family, we are all Giants fans. But when the Giants aren't in the playoffs, we all kind of tend to pull for the Vikings. I'm sure out there somewhere in America, there's a family of indigenous peoples who are once Native Americans, who are once Indians, who were once savages, Indians, Redskins galore, who will root for the Chiefs in the playoffs if their team is not in it. I'm sure the same can be said for, I don't know, some Seattle Mariner fan who would like to see the Indians or Braves do well if their team is not in it. There's a source of pride which comes from knowing who you are. Who you are should be celebrated at every point. I don't care what ethnicity you are, you should be proud of who you are and not hide it. And don't listen to these well-educated white people who, we know better what you people do and don't like. When's the last time you saw someone of Native American, Indian, indigenous people descent being upset over these logos? You don't. Actually, I played football with a few of them over the years. Of them, yeah. You know what? Their nicknames were Injun Joe and Tonto. They gave them those names to themselves. They even would wear war paint. So what life comes down to is being proud of who you are, who your ancestors are, and knowing where you came from. That's what life comes down to. Switching a logo? And one of the things in the article was great. They said they want to switch the team name from Indians because, well, you know, if the fans go into the ballpark wearing headdresses would be offensive. Okay? Am I offended when people go to the ballpark wearing Minnesota Viking horns? No. It doesn't bother me. Because I know who I am. When you begin to know who you are, you'll be less threatened by other people's diversity. That's the truth. Tell me how politically correct you want to be. Do you want to be known as a politically correct guy all the time? No. You know what? I date a woman who is Native American. Alright? Her son is Native American. You know what I teach him every day? I teach him to be prideful about who he is. Because you can't take that away or you can't change it. You cannot change your ethnicity if you want to. Unlike those sex changes, the choices we get with those situations, we cannot change our ethnicity or our DNA if we want to. So really think about those things next time you want to be politically correct about sports logos. The Tomahawk chant, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, we all like the Tomahawk chant. You know why? Because it's cool. You know why? Because Indians, and that's what I'm going to call them because I like words that are short and to the point. Okay? They gave invasive white people a hell of a battle to rob their countryside from them, which they did. Okay, and I say they because my family on my father's side was in Sweden until the early part of the 1900s. My mother's side was in Poland until the early part of the 1900s. So my DNA had nothing to fucking do with any of it. Bottom line is, be proud of who you are, celebrate who you are. Don't back down, because who you are cannot change. I would love to hear a spirited conversation on this matter. I really would. And I'm not stupid enough to say I know everything. As a matter of fact, I'm intelligent enough to tell you, you can teach me more. How about that? A smart man says he can always learn more. A dumbass says he knows it all. Like, comment, or share.